In the traditional enlightenment, when the seeker becomes a finder, when he or she awakens to the self, what Ramana Maharshi called the self, what Eckhart Tolle calls the ground of being. So when you awaken to the self of the ground of being, and that experience is very profound, very powerful, very transformative, so you discover who you truly are. And if it's deep enough, you stop identifying as strongly with the ego and begin to identify more strongly with the true self. And as you become established in that revelation, then you're stabilized on the other side in all your imperfection. But from an evolutionary point of view, the possibilities of development are infinite. Your developmental potential and my developmental potential is infinite. So awakening to the ground of being is the end of seeking, but it's not the end of spiritual development. That's an infinite process. So what I call the old enlightenment, if you awaken to the ground of being, it's all finished. And the way that I teach, that's the first step. Becoming grounded in the ground of being. Awakening to the true self, that's the foundation of the new enlightenment. And from that foundation, we begin to work on our own, cultivating our own higher potentials, our higher evolutionary potentials for eternity. So it's very exciting because then you see you get to become, for the first step is becoming a finder. And when you become a finder and you embrace evolutionary enlightenment, you begin the path of infinite conscious development. It becomes a full-time occupation forever. So in the way that I approach this, becoming a finder is the first step. It's a big step, but it's the first step. Because I don't think this higher development can really happen if we're preoccupied with being seekers still. The hunger for liberation has to be satisfied. Then we can focus on higher possibilities. And also, if we're going to focus on higher possibilities, we have to become very trustworthy as a human being. And somebody's only going to be trustworthy, in my opinion, if they're truly a finder. Which means they've mastered their ego to master their ego. They're reliable and they're not going to get too lost anymore because they know what the truth is. Someone like that you can trust. Other people are untrustworthy. They get frightened or angry or overwhelmed by lust or greed. They can change. Trustworthy, non-trustworthy. Knowing what the truth is, right? And being true to the truth. So you see, people who are true finders, I believe, are more trustworthy for that reason. So the awakening to the ground of being becomes a means to a higher end in the way I look at it. The main thing is mastering the ego, the fears and desires of the frontal self, understanding what it is and what it isn't, so we can't get fooled by it and make mistakes. Because enlightenment is a living thing. It's a living vibration. And it's passed from master to disciple and has been for thousands of years. It's a living conscious, like a burning fire. So if someone's a truly realized master, they are burning up all the time. And in the traditional metaphor is that the seeker is like a piece of wood. If the wood is not too soggy, if it sits next to the fire, it dries out pretty quickly and then it catches fire itself. That's the transmission of grace, of enlightened awareness. It's a living vibration of consciousness itself. And someone's nervous system catches fire with the light of enlightened awareness itself. The being becomes illuminated by the same state of consciousness as the guru himself, herself. But it's literally transmitted like a passing of fire from master to disciple. It's always how it's worked, and it still works that way. But once you accept the gift of liberation, can you hold on to it? But that's how it's transmitted. And I think when you realize that enlightenment is a living vibration, It's like a living manifestation of consciousness. It's very inspiring because you realize it exists as an objective fact of reality. So I always tell people you have to believe in enlightenment itself, and you have to believe in your own worthiness to embrace it. So when I had this original experience, the feeling was of burning up, of being burnt or consumed by the fire of consciousness itself. It was consuming my whole being. Felt like. It was very scary because I realized everything that I've been looking for was actually happening to me. I was scared. So I realized this was not a joke anymore. This was everything. But then once this happens, you have to honor the grace every day. It has to be honored. Can't be taken for granted. My guru said to me, Andrew, I'm so glad you found a friend you'll never be able to see. I'm so glad you found a friend you'll never be able to see. You know what that means? It means you can't see your own self. But your own self is always there, right? Your own self doesn't go anywhere. Putting it in another context, what if your best friend you can't see? So that puts you in a position, do you trust unconditionally, radically, and absolutely and completely that your best friend is always there? Or is your best friend fallen asleep and forgotten all about you? Has God forsaken you? Or are you still saved? The ego will come up with all of these ways to torment you. So if you're strong, the way of saying you'll never doubt it. And you'll never doubt it. It'll always be available. Not when you want it, but when it needs to be there. This whole teaching is based upon putting enlightenment as number one. Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to make a lot of money? Do you want to be famous? Do you want to be liberated more than anything else? Most people, well, I never thought, but really. Enlightenment, well, that's a nice idea. That'd be a nice addition to my. I said, no, do you want to be free more than anything else? That means letting go of everything else. Having nothing, knowing nothing, being no one. Unconditional leap into the unknown, letting go of everything for God, so to speak. Most people say, whoa, I never thought about that. That seems to be like asking for a little bit much. I said, I thought you wanted to be enlightened. I do, but not that much. It would be nice. So then you're not serious. So the reason they fall back asleep is because they forgot what happened. They forgot how enormous it is. And you want to know what drives me crazy? The thing about the friend you can never see is invisible. So most people, even if they have a powerful taste of it, powerful recognition of it, the enlightened awareness cannot be held in the mind can only cognize what happens in linear time. So when you have experiences that transcend linear time, the ego mind can't remember that, has no grasp of it, because it exists in a different dimension, reality. So you have to have access to that different dimension of reality to have access to enlightened awareness. When we lose access to that different dimension, we lose access to all the memories of all the depth that we experienced and we knew. We won't remember. You will not remember. You will not remember the most blissful moments of your existence. You won't remember any of it. It's gone. It's like a door comes in, shh. And the minute we lose access, we fall back into the ego. And the ego gets very defensive. Very defensive. The ego wants to be in control, wants to be the dominant monad. You follow? The ego doesn't like to, when you renounce your ego, the ego doesn't like it. The ego wants to be supremely in control. Who's in control of your body, mind, and personality? If the body, mind, and personality is the vehicle for your consciousness, who's in the driver's seat? Is it the true self or the ego? So with the enlightenment, the true self kicks the ego out of the front seat. Then we have to do spiritual practice. Most people have to do spiritual practice to maintain that situation, because the minute you fall asleep or take a nap, the ego will jump into the front seat, push the true self out. The secret is letting go, baby. Letting go is the secret of all the problems and all the thoughts about the problems. All the problems and all the thoughts about the problems. You just have to let go of all of it, without worrying what's going to happen. And then when you experience a little space, go up and have space inside you. Oh, that feels good. I didn't solve any problems, but the space is so liberating. And you realize the space is liberation. The space is liberation. Right now, the space is liberation. You don't have to solve a damn thing. The liberation doesn't need to be cultivated, because it's already fully there. You just have to realize it. It's a big yes that we're looking for. And you want to find the big yes, and the big yes is pure positivity, and it destroys all the questions. You have good questions, they're reasonable questions, they're rational questions, but there's a positivity that can transcend all those questions. And that's what I'm pointing to. So don't look for guarantees, look for hopeful possibilities. Reasonable. There's no guarantees. How life unfolds, we don't know what's going to happen. So worth taking a risk. That's more reasonable. There's no guarantees. Anybody can guarantee, tries to give you a guarantee, I wouldn't trust them. Because the spiritual transformation is, as you well know, is too delicate, is too complex. It's too much of a mysterious process. And the human personality is very complex. So we don't know what's going to happen in the long run. You can't predict it. But if it's going to work, you have to be willing to cooperate unconditionally. Yes. So what the source is waiting to see, there's a lot of Old Testament stories are all about, do you love me unconditionally? Will you do anything for me? The source seems to be asking us, waiting for us to to surrender unconditionally, calling for greater submission, greater surrender, greater trust. That's how it works.